Warning: sensitive content.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
If we do not reduce by 75 to 95%, that's the number, 75 to 95% reduction in animal products, we will be unable to avoid climate catastrophe. Veganism is not an option. Veganism is morally a moral necessity.
Supreme Master Ching Hai gratefully present Professor Gary Francione the Shining World Hero Award with all love, best wishes, and high praises for your dedication to creating a more just and ethical world. May you and your loved ones enjoy continued blessings and constant protection by heaven. Continue watching to find out more.
Please make peace, cause hell is full of warmongers already.
Esteemed viewers, seus sorrisos são lindos is Portuguese for "Your smiles are beautiful." My name is Monica. The lovely Portuguese people thank you for your heroic act of adopting a vegan lifestyle to rescue our Earth from the destruction of the climate crisis. May your hearts always be full of joy and peace. Welcome to the second part of Professor Gary Francione, Vegan, on Justice for Animal People. On today's show, we will explore more insights from Professor Francione's theories of animal people rights. One of the areas that Professor Francione writes about is the property status of animal people. In his book, Animals, Property and the Law, he argues that the current law defines animal people as the personal property of their owners, which leads to a situation where the animal people themselves do not possess any legal rights. Similar to the unethical treatment of slaves in the past, animal people, regardless of the enactment of welfare laws, will be vulnerable to exploitation as long as they are considered property rather than persons.
I have 5 dogs. I live with 5 dogs. They're all rescues. I love them. They're members of my family. But the reality is they're property. If you have a conflict between the owner of property and the property, the owner's got to win. That's the simple rule. If the owner doesn't win, you don't have property anymore. The same problem existed when we had slavery. People thought, well, aren't there laws that we can enact that will make slavery better? And the answer is no, you couldn't, because the slaves were property. So if the slave wins against the slave owner, slavery becomes threatened. So as long as animals are property, animals are never going to win. They're only going to win to the extent that it's necessary to let them win in order for us to be able to exploit them in economically efficient ways.
Although property status is a problem that lies in the legislation of animal people rights, Professor Francione believes that the most effective way to tackle the issue is through one's personal actions.
This is why the solution is not going to be a legal solution. The solution is going to be a socio-political solution. What we need to do is to educate people to become vegan, more and more people. As the number of vegans increases, then the paradigm will shift and we'll start, addressing the issue about whether animal use can be justified rather than whether animal treatment is.
Many who study the ethics of animal people question whether those in the animal people kingdom have a morally significant interest in their own lives. Professor Francione shares his views with us.
Certainly the animals we routinely exploit every day, they are sentient. They are subjectively aware. They can feel pain. I think that any sentient being values his or her life, however he or she values it. They value their lives. They're sentient beings. To say that a sentient being does not have an interest in continuing to live is like saying that a being with eyes does not have an interest in continuing to see. Sentience is the means for continued existence.
Furthermore, Professor Francione argues that animal people do not need sophisticated cognition in order to matter morally. Sentience alone is enough. To elaborate on his perspective, he invites us on a thought experiment.
Now, let's think about humans for a second. Let's say that you have a human who is not particularly cognitively sophisticated, somebody who is mentally disabled, severely mentally disabled. There's no reasoning ability. There's no ability to think abstractly. There is sentience. There's subjective awareness, and there's the ability to feel pain. Now, is such a human the same as you or me? And the answer is no, clearly. Should we use me or you or that person as a forced organ donor or as a non-consenting subject in a biomedical experiment? Then the answer to that is we're all equal. None of us, not you, not me, not the severely cognitively disabled person, should be used exclusively as a means to the end of others and used as a forced organ donor or as a non-consenting subject in a biomedical experiment. And I think most of us would be horrified by the suggestion that a human being who's not cognitively sophisticated can be used, let's say, as a forced organ donor. I think most of us would say, wow, that's deeply troubling. But yet we think it's okay with animals. Well, I'm sorry, but first of all, I think animals are far more cognitively sophisticated than we think they are. But we're never going to know. That's the problem. We're never going to know because we're never going to understand animal minds because we use language. And it doesn't really matter whether they have those states or not, in the same way that it doesn't matter whether or not a human being has those cognitive states. So if we wouldn't use the human exclusively as a resource who lacks all of those cognitive characteristics, we shouldn't use the non-human.
We couldn't agree more, Professor Francione. All humans and animal people should have equal rights as legal entities.
Although many countries have formally recognized non-human animal people's sentience in different forms, it wasn't until 2014 in an Indian Supreme Court case that animal people were first officially recognized as having the legal right to exist by any government. In 2022, a landmark ruling occurred in the nation of Ecuador, where the country's high court expanded on the interpretation of the rights of nature language in Ecuador's constitution. It ruled that while animal people possess distinct legal rights, including the right to exist, thus, the legal status of non-human animal people in Ecuador has been improved.
The pressure is now building for the rest of the world to follow suit in granting legal rights of protection for animal people.
It should be remembered that flesh can never be in the condition of perfect health because decay commences at the moment when the creature is killed. Charles W. Ledbetter, vegetarian.
Compassionate viewers, we'll be right back after this message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back, kind-hearted viewers. In 2021, Professor Francione published the book Why Veganism Matters: The Moral Value of Animals, which is dedicated to all those who believe animal people matter morally, but are not yet vegan.
It's a book which is aimed at a particular audience of people who do care about animals. And what I'm trying to do is to say to those people, if you care, you've got to go vegan. It's not negotiable. It's the only thing which makes sense. If you're continuing to exploit them, then you don't really think they matter morally. There are so many people who care about animals. I want them all to go vegan. All those people who love their dogs and cats, all those people who love their rabbits and their birds and all the other non-humans that they regard as members of their family. If all of those people went vegan, we'd have a huge vegan movement. And I think that would not only reduce the violence against animals, but I think that would move us in a direction toward a more peaceful world.
Besides writing books and representing numerous animal people advocates in court cases, Professor Francione has actively promoted the vegan lifestyle through social media. He is a great supporter of innovative education and started a website that offers resources on how to go vegan. He also shares his abolitionist perspective of veganism through other platforms like Instagram and YouTube.
We need to recognize that eating animals and animal products is not only morally bad, but as a matter of rationality, it's really silly. It's not good. It's counterproductive. It's irrational. So what we need to do is do a better job of educating people about the importance of vegan diet for your health, the importance of a vegan diet for the health of the planet, because the data are absolutely clear. If we do not reduce by 75 to 95%, that's the number, 75 to 95% reduction in animal products, we will be unable to avoid climate catastrophe. Now, 75 to 95% is a lot. It's just a matter of changing our habits. That's all it is. But we can do that. We can do that. We need to do that. We need to reevaluate things. We need to see that we've got all sorts of habits, both personally and culturally, that are wrong. And we need to get away from those habits.
When asked about his wish for the world, Professor Francione says that he would like to see humans survive.
Do we want to survive, or do we want to throw it all away? And that's a simple question. Veganism is not an option. Veganism is morally a moral necessity. If you think animals matter morally, then veganism is the only rational alternative. Vegetarianism doesn't work because there's no morally coherent distinction between meat and dairy and eggs or whatever. They all involve suffering. They all involve death. Look, people, if you care about animals, if you care about the planet existing for your children and your grandchildren, etc., if you would like to try to live a life that is more free of illness, then it makes sense to get that stuff out of your diet. And because it's the only way, by significant reduction, not giving it up once a week. We're talking about 75 to 95%. Since many people aren't going to do that, that means those of us who care have to do it 100%. If we want the planet to survive, we need to cut it out completely.
We sincerely thank Professor Gary Francione for his unwavering commitment to the education and advocacy of animal people rights. We fervently pray that the ongoing climate crisis and current pandemic threats act as pivotal turning points for humanity to evolve and to realize that all of God's creations are equal and should be treated as such. Then, and only then, will animal exploitation be abolished completely.
Supreme Master Ching Hai gratefully present Professor Gary Francione the Shining World Hero Award with all love, best wishes, and high praises for your dedication to creating a more just and ethical world. May you and your loved ones enjoy continued blessings and constant protection by heaven. Supreme Master Ching Hai is deeply grateful to the most merciful, beloved God for all the financial help, comfort, and support to the afflicted and needy in or any good cause over the years, as a humble vessel for His compassion and love toward His precious children.
To learn more about Professor Gary Francione, vegan, please visit abolitionistapproach.com and howdoigovegan.com.
Vegan to avoid reincarnation on a burning planet.
Compassionate viewers, thank you for being here with us today. Coming up next is
Diligent Group Meditation to Protect Ourselves and the World, Part 3 of 6.
on Between Master and Disciples, right after noteworthy news. May your lives be filled with inner peace and happiness.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nasze programy oferują wiele języków. Prosimy zobaczyć suprememastertv.com/schedule oraz suprememastertv.com/VE.